in it now, March. Hey! That is piping hot tonight. And we are on episode 34 of March Comes In Like a Lion. And at this point, who knows? At this point, who knows what's going to happen? Because we have been through quite the emotional gambit this entire season so far. Between Ray and his growth as a character, helping Hina to overcome her own issues with bullies, to Nikaido going through the ringer. I'm like, what? We've already been through Shikai. We've been through Shimada, Nikaido, Hina. What else could there be? Unless, of course, they go back to Kyoko and Goto, or they bring in Koda and all of this. Who knows? But last episode, Ray discovered that he is being given the opportunity to face Soya in a match, which is a pretty big deal. And they're doing it for publicity because the other matches are just too boring. So let's bring in the newcomers and the young, youthful gents to go face and fight each other. So... Also, Ray is now the newcomer king. He won the title, and so that's exciting. And he's been helping Hina, and I have absolutely adored this season. Adored it. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to watch this episode that we have here and see what's next. I don't know where we're going to with the season at this point, but I'm excited because every episode in season 2 has been amazing. I have had no complaints. And so I'm just on the roller coaster now, and wherever they take us, that's where we're going. So it is what it is. But real quick, before we start, I want to give a shout out to not only the philanthropy tier, which we'll go through here in a second, but also to thank Edgar, because my internet has been out for 12 days now. 12 days. And it's been unbearable. I have a tiny little hotspot, and it has 1 bar. So it has just enough power that I can edit the videos. I can edit the videos without internet, but to publish them, I need internet. So it has just enough bars, 1 bar, that it'll let me publish it. It just takes forever. But as far as watching the reactions, Edgar has been super nice. They went out and got me the files and were just like, here you go. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. So a real big shout out to Edgar on Patreon for getting me these files to look at. I'm so appreciative while I'm waiting for my internet to get fixed. And also I want to give a shout out to the philanthropy tier over on Patreon, because I'm so grateful for everybody on YouTube and Patreon that supports me, but also special thanks to the philanthropy tier. They get a shout out in my videos. So special thanks to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to Bryant Reed, to Damage 3245, to Dana, to Danger Zone, to Devorin, to Danny Donmai, to Destiny Marie, to Ichu, Eric, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, El Freya, Liam Poles, as well as Lyndon, Matthew Palfinier, Murphew, Nicholas, Nameless Monster, No Nickname, Shimoyama, Sunspots, Trails, and Translucent Men. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah. All right. I'm super excited to see what's going to happen this episode, as per usual. I also am like, am I going to cry tonight? That's an active question. Whenever I sit down for March Comes In Like a Lion, I have to ask myself, okay, today's the day you're going to watch March. Are you going to cry? We're just going to have to wait and see. So, in any case, we're going to start episode 34 of March Comes In Like a Lion, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I had to restart this video, I think, 3 times and restart my computer because I would take it back to start from the very beginning, and it would like, also, we have a new OP! It would not mess up what's happening! Oh shit! I was so pissed because I had to restart this over and over again. Oh my gosh. It's a whole new OP. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am. Oh! These two! Like, what? Oh, and Chio. It's like everything's so much more upbeat when you compare it to like season 1's first OP. Well, now I'm going to pay more attention next episode to this. Oh, I love this. Oh, and all the flowers! Yes! So pretty, the cherry blossoms. Love it. Ah. Oh. And going through the flowers. And his savior. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh, I love it. Yes. Can't believe we already had a new OP. I was like, what? I'm going to miss the old OP, but I like this one too. Black Mist. I don't like where this is headed. Uh. Ooh. I don't like the tone of this episode at all. Oh my god. Yeah, she's loose. She's lost control of that class. She has lost control of that class. Oh my god. Oh my god. You've let these kids like take over like feral animals. Yeah, they're bullying her. Oh. Uh, that's such a weird the way it's right, her feet are drawn. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh my god. Wow, her little bow-legged legs. Oh. Hmm. Uh-huh. Ugh. Oh. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. Call her out. Oh. Oh. Stop over there, girl. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Stand. Stand your ground. Oh, this teacher. Oh. Oh my god. Yeah, oh my God, she's saying this out loud? Holy shit. Wow. Oh my God. Holy shit, the animation. Wow. Shit. Oh my God. Wow. Holy shit, the animation in this episode. Oh my God. Oh. Oh. Wow. I mean, I'm so proud of Hina for standing her ground against that brat, but damn. Holy shit. Whose fault indeed? Okay. So a different teacher. All right. Wow, the dead flowers. Mmm. Wow. He's a whole different vibe. I heard some of you complaining. Oh. Ooh. Holy shit. Oh, interesting. Funny that. Yeah. Mm. Damn. Okay, so what now? Oh. Ah. And it just broke her. Damn. She could have done something about it. Yeah, no, she could have done something about it. She was just not a good teacher. Oh. Oh. Mm. And are taking her away. Oh. Ah. Oh, she's like, we're gonna eat food and solve our problems. We're doing this Golden Girl style. Mm. Oh, Akari. Oh. Oh. I love that. That's so sweet. Them being siblings. Love it. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's so cute with the star-shaped carrots. Adorable. Damn, what a chapter. And then light right after Black Mist. Wow. No. Ah! Ah! No, 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 no. Uh-huh. Oh my God. Hmm. Cooler minds are maybe a better idea. Oh. Hmm. Oh, Kari, I hope it goes well. I want it to go well, damn it. Let it go well. Ah! I'm so stressed for them. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. She sounds a lot more like Hina. She sounds a lot more like Hina there. Oh my God. And her mom had Hina's eyes. Yeah, she had Hina's eyes. Mmm. Oh. She's so pretty. Oh, gorgeous. This episode's so beautifully animated. This chapter's called Light, but then everything's so dark and gloomy. Oh, of course, this is the mom with her. Of course. Ah! Oh my gosh. Oh, of course. And then that mom is gonna be that she's gonna be all snide, isn't she? She looks a lot older. Oh my God. Oh. Wow, Akari looks so much younger there with her hair pulled back. Oh, she's the same way. Mm. Oh. Really? Uh, uh, uh. Oh, really? Mm. Oh. Oh. Ah. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Oh, I hate this for her. Of course you do. Oh, how are you going to handle this? Oh my God. Oh. Oh my God, Akari, don't spiral, girl. Oh. Oh, Hina. Mm. Oh. Damn it. Oh. Oh. Oh, Hina's so strong. Oh. 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 Yeah. No, they won't. No. Yep. Oh. That's right. Oh. Yep. Yes. Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Damn good. Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah. Eat it, bitch. Oh. Right back at you, bitch. Where is it? Yes. I love him. Keep him around forever. Oh, and he knows. Oh. Oh my God, yes! Oh, I love it! Oh, bless this man. Oh, we get a new ED too. I was so thrown off by the new OP. Oh my God. Ooh. Ooh. On the verge of permanent stasis. I like this. To make myself seem stable. Wow. Nice. Oh, and he's always walked along the water like in the OP and EDs. Wow. I love this. Nice. The OPs and EDs in this series have not been missing at all. Oh, love it. Of course, he'd be the last one to show up. Love it. Yes, please. Oh, oh, don't mind us. I'm gonna look up what the end card is. Is it gonna show us the end card? Probably not. Oh my gosh. Well. What an episode! Oh my God! Holy shit! Well, this episode, oh my God, I was so thrown off at the beginning because I'm not gonna lie to you all, after I just gave you that spiel about Edgar giving me the files, my VLC player did not want to show the episode. I was like, what is happening? It was worth all the trouble, but it literally took me restarting my computer and trying it like 3 or 4 times. So if the timer was a little bit off, I'm sorry, but I was like, once I click play, I gotta go, otherwise it may mess up again. Oh my God. Oh, so let's go ahead and talk about the end card because I felt like such an idiot. This is the end card. It's amazing. And I was like, oh my God, I love that art style. I was like, who drew this? Oh, it's just Hideaki Nishikawa, the creator of the series. I love that they actually did the end card for this episode. So they drew Rei for this end card. It looks amazing. I absolutely love everything about this. It's one of my favorite end cards. But I was like, why'd they draw Rei? Why did the mangaka draw Rei for the end card? And then I realized Rei's not in this episode at all. Rei is not here one bit. It's all Akari and Hina. And I was like, well, the mangaka was probably like, you know what? We didn't get to see Ray all this time, so we might as well just show him in here and let y'all see him. But it's a really good end card. It's one of my favorites. I absolutely love it. I was so like worried about the episode not playing that I didn't even notice we have a brand new OP. It's so good. The OPs and EDs have not missed for this series. They've been amazing from start to finish. It's gonna be really hard for me. I'm gonna have to wait till the end of the series to pick out which ones are my favorites. I really liked the second ED. The second ED is really good, and I really like the second OP, or the third OP, I guess. The third OP and the third ED, the ones that we just had. I really liked them. So it's going to be hard, but these two are giving them runs for their money. And I love the aesthetics. I love all the saturation of colors. I was thinking how far we've come. The very first OP of the series was so bleak and sad. And now everything's sparkling and there's rainbows and everything. It's just, there's always like a little edge of melancholy with March Comes In Like a Lion, but it's so beautiful and it's so colorful. And I love every bit of it. So yeah, what an episode. Oh my God. This episode solidified what I've been talking about in the Discord, and that's just simply the fact that I can't read the manga after watching this. I've got to wait for them to animate another season because I'm like, Shaft. Shaft does such an amazing job with this series. I honestly just want to wait. I want to wait until we get a third season, even if it takes a long time. Even if it takes who knows how long, I want to wait and see because it was just, this episode was the epitome of just how good it can be when the studio gives it so much attention. And I just feel like they elevate, I haven't even read the source material, but I feel like they elevate it so much. And I can see now why the mangaka was like, no, they have to animate it. It has to be them. There's just such an artistry, and this episode was art. The first part especially, the first half especially. The second half, man, I feel like this is the mangaka in their prime, because what I love so much about this episode is that it pulls you in, and it pulls you into that pit of despair, and you're like, damn it, no, this sucks. And then the mangaka doesn't torture you. The mangaka's like, okay, that was enough. Now here's the other side. And it's like, oh my God. And with the chapter being called Light, I was like, it has to end happy or at least somewhat melancholy. And then we got it. So we're going to talk about this episode, but this first part called Black Mist. It reminded me a lot of Godo, but I would even say, as much as I've disliked Godo in this series, I would not put him in the same boat as that mother and Tagaki. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, the mom, Tagaki is mirroring her mother. She's mirroring her mom at the end of the day. And that doesn't excuse her from what she's done, because she's done some shitty things, a little bratty kid. But the fact that as a teacher, I see a lot of what students do mirrors their parents, whether you realize it or not. Now, once you get into adulthood and you grow up, then yeah, by the time you hit high school, you're like, okay, am I going to be exactly like my parents, or am I going to be different? You start to kind of develop that sense of rebellion, that sense of independence, where you're not exactly going to be totally like them. But these students are still in middle school. Hina and Tagaki are still middle school students, where they are very, very, very much influenced by their parents. And I feel like we'll talk about Hina and Akari, but I definitely feel like Tagaki was definitely influenced by her mom, who seems like an older woman, which is interesting. She seems like she's an older woman, but or maybe she's just so bitter and spiteful, it's made her seem older. But damn, we'll talk about this new teacher too. There's so much to say, but so the Black Mist of this chapter, the bullying in this school just gets out of hand. And so, yeah, to me, what I think is happening is that Hina's not budging. She is so strong. There is no way I could be as strong as Hina. Like, the light from chapter 69 is Hina. She's the light. Like, when Ray said she's his savior, he's not joking. And Akari, she's this source of light for Akari when Akari's starting to feel like overwhelmed and not sure of herself. Hina is, she's such a good character, and she just takes on this role where she's like, you know what, screw you all, like, I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction of knowing you got to me. No, because whether she realizes it or not, she's so much stronger than Chio, and the bullies their impact on Chio is not going to be the same as it is on Hina. And I feel like if Hina was asked, a lot of it is her own strength, but I think she would say that it's because of her sister Akari. It's because of her grandfather. It's because of Ray. It's because of these people in her life that are so good to her that gives her the courage and ability to be strong. And it's so damn good. It's so good. But I feel like when they came back from the school trip and she wasn't bothered because Ray showed up and she was all happy about it, I feel like Tagaki was like, well, then we're just going to take it up to the next level. And these kids, maybe this is the difference between Japanese schools and American schools. Maybe this is the big difference, but look, all these kids, for whatever reason, don't want Tagaki to bully them. So they just all kind of be quiet and cower. I don't know. At my school, I think if it got to that point, they'd probably just get tired of her and then they'd all gang up on her, which isn't the solution. But I feel like if it was an American school, they would eventually turn the tables and gang up on her and be like, oh, what? Well, now you're, and what I like about this episode is it doesn't go there. I was so afraid that Hina was going to hit her because that's what she wants. That girl is a bully and she wants Hina to retaliate. And because Tagaki has technically not done anything, she wants to get Hina in trouble. And when Hina stands in front of her desk, we'll get to it. But I was like, bitch, yes, that is exactly what you got to do. So, but we got to get there first. So this teacher's like losing all of her chalk, doesn't know where to find things. The door shuts behind her. She's missing her scroll to take attendance. All of these things. And everything is like so dour in the classroom. The other kids want to speak up. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get bullied. The teacher's coming unraveled. She's coming unglued. Like the violent streak of the eraser across the paper. Like it was all really, really well done. The doom and gloom in the classroom. It's just this black mist that's settled in, right? And then the eraser getting thrown at the chalkboard. I literally, I've talked about it in previous episodes. My freshman year of high school, I had a teacher have a mental breakdown like this from anxiety. This is not far off. It's not far off. The teacher that I watched, she had a mental breakdown and she would yell at us in class and like she thought the principal's listening through the intercom and we were like, no. And she literally had a mental breakdown and none of us really knew. We were 14 years old. We didn't know what to do. So we were just kind of like, what do you do about this? And then after my freshman year, she left and we never heard of her again. I'm assuming she's fine, but we heard she transferred somewhere else. She just couldn't handle the stress of it. Now, I gave this teacher a hard time in the reaction because she was just like, every year it's the same thing and nothing gets better and she couldn't do anything about it. My thing is the teacher in my class that had a mental breakdown, hers was kind of because she was negligent and caused a student to get hurt because of her negligence. And that was kind of on her and she just kind of went crazy afterwards. But this teacher, I feel like her cowardice and her inability to do anything to control her classroom eventually led to her just losing all composure that she had. And I get it. I get it to an extent because I subbed a class once that had 32 kids in it and 28 of them were boys and 4 of them were girls. And I say that because there was like a little gang of like 8 little 3rd graders that just decided they weren't going to listen. And they're like, well, we're not going to do anything. What are you going to do about it? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, you little shit stains. I can't do anything about it. But disciplining them was really hard. And honestly, if I had had a class year after year like that, yeah, it'd probably break me down and wear me down. So I don't blame her for getting wore down, especially getting wore down by these kids acting the same way. Like these middle school hormonal little kids acting the same way every year. And they all pick on somebody to bully and it's the same shit. And I'm glad she spoke up in class to them out loud and told them about it so that they know. But in the same vein, I feel like at some point she should have done something, especially if she knows this happens year after year. She should have been more responsible as a teacher and did something. And I can say that as a teacher, like you got to eventually do something, whether it's reach out to another teacher, whether it's call in like a superintendent, whether it's do something. She just decided to ignore the problem, and it'll just, another year will go by and it will sort itself out. And that seems to be her method. But the thing of it is, she hasn't had a student like Hina, probably, that stood up and said, screw this, and defended herself, and is such a nice person like Hina to try to help her find the resources that she needs. Because Hina's just genuinely a nice person, and Hina's she observes how the teacher's lost weight and how she's struggling, and she does her best to help her. And Hina's smart, so she figures out where it is. So Hina's just a good kid, and she tries to help out the teacher, and then it all just goes awry. I'm like, the moment that one girl tried to pin it on Hina, I was so mad. Because we all know that Hina wasn't responsible. And we all know it's so obvious that, and if the teacher had done like what the second teacher had done, it would have solved a lot of problems. But I like the bow-legged way that Hina runs back. It looks very cartoonish, which it's supposed to illustrate like how frantic she is in that moment. But she finds it, and of course, the one girl, she calls her a brown noser and tries to, like, what a brat. What a little brat, right? And the thing about it is that this show hasn't addressed, that I'm wondering if it ever will, is that Tagaki, I feel like Tagaki is projecting a lot of her own insecurities, a lot of her own inferiority complex, a lot of her own envy and jealousy at Hina. I feel like Tagaki is projecting a lot of, because that's usually what bullies do. Bullies are jealous or insecure, or they have something going on at home that is bad, and they project it on others to make themselves feel better. And I don't know if Hina's figured that out necessarily, but Hina's figured out that Tagaki is just trying to project onto someone else to make herself look better. And nobody's challenging her because nobody wants to be the target of that next. And I love Hina standing up to her. I love when Hina, she goes over there and she just stands right in front of her being like, oh, you thought I was going to hit you? Would that have made you feel better? No, I'm not going to give you that satisfaction. I love Hina standing up for herself because I feel like under another teacher, especially the new homeroom teacher, they'd be like, yeah, you got any proof? Bring it out. Let's see it. And when Tagaki doesn't, they're going to call her out and be like, no. And I love that Hina marches over there. She deliberately stomps her feet over there and just is like, oh, what'd you expect me to do? Because the girl screams before she even like hits her. Like she was screaming at her like she was going to do something. And then Hina's like, no. I love her standing there with her arms crossed like, nah, bitch. Do you think I was going to hit you? Mm-mm. And she's like, of course I wouldn't do that. That'd be playing right into your hands. And for a moment, Hina seems really cool. So my theory is, hopefully, if she doesn't let Tagaki bother her and she's like, screw you, then eventually the other kids might turn around and be like, I would think Hina would be cool as hell. If that had been me in that classroom, I'd have been like, I'm getting on her side. Because in the zombie apocalypse, Hina's going to be the one I want to be on the team on, not this bitch. No way. She'll turn tail first chance she gets. This Hina girl seems pretty cool. I want her to guard me. To me, that would make me seem cooler. So, and then she's like, what do you mean I hit it? And the thing that was so frustrating was that the teacher, rather than get a backbone in that moment and then be like, okay, Hina, let's get things under control. Tagaki, you got any proof? Otherwise, shut up. Like, but she didn't. She was so overwhelmed in that moment that she just lost it. And what a moment. And of course, Tagaki thinks that she's won, but she doesn't get mad at Hina. She just completely loses it. And Hina calls her out. And then this whole segment and how it was animated, because at that moment, both Tagaki and Hina are like, oh shit. And she's just talking out loud and letting her anxiety completely like shroud over her like this mist. And she reveals exactly what she is thinking, which is what everybody else is thinking. And she's like, there's no proof, so how am I supposed to prove it? And then she's like, I can't take it anymore. She's literally that pheasant in Bambi where the pheasant like is like, we should fly. And they're like, oh no, don't fly. And she's like, I can't take it anymore. And then she flies up and gets shot. Yeah, she's like, don't get me involved. Every single year, it's the same. The students change, but every time there's someone who gets left out and bullied. The animation in this scene is terrifying. The way that they draw her face, the moment there that I was like, did this just become Neon Genesis Evangelion, like the rebuilds? Like, the animation on her face, the shadows and everything was so dramatic and insane. I was just gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked by the whole thing. And then she's like, how can you have so much free time to be harassing your classmates? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you studying for these? And her like hand reaching out to Tagaki or Tagagi and then being like, stop torturing your classmates and study more. Like, that was so eerie. Oh my God. So creepy. She's like, who do you even think you are anyway? You just involve everyone in your nonsense. And they're all just staring at her dumbfounded before she collapses. I love the idea that they have the water, like the water cooler. So it's kind of like water cooler chat, but they have her like collapsing like she's drowning, which water's been very symbolic in this series for that. Absolutely insane. The dam burst and the teacher kept talking until she collapsed. Damn. Just insane. Oh, just such a wild episode, but the animation in that whole scene was incredible. Yeah, my God. So yeah, and then they got a new teacher. And everybody, and the thing that gets me is not only like the plant just dead in the jar, like there's no water left in the jar. It's like she sucked out all the water from the plant and drowned herself. But the fact that the kids just stood there in silence, like they didn't know what to do when she collapsed. And then they're all out of the classroom. Insane. What an insanely animated shot. So she'd been hospitalized due to anxiety, and they got a new homeroom teacher to come in and take her place, which I love him. He is so good. I freaking love him. I love how he just comes in. You can tell he's been there a while. You can tell he knows about these kids, and they're like, And everybody's like, well, what's going to happen to our class? And we've got entrance exams. What are we going to do? And everybody's just kind of wondering. And then, whose fault is it? And I love that Hina is just like, we all know whose fault it is, but nobody's going to say anything. So then he's like, well, I'm going to be your new homeroom teacher until a new one is assigned. So I'm going to teach this one. He looks like the principal from the Breakfast Club, where he's like, I got you for the rest of your natural born lives. Like, you know, I got the bull by the horns. I need to go rewatch the Breakfast Club because it's been a while. But Mr. Kokubu is the head teacher, and he's such a breath of fresh air. He's so different than the last teacher. And like, even looking over at the plants that are just dead and dying in the jar. So it's July 10th. It's almost summer vacation. And he's like, you're soon going to be taking entrance exams. So he's like, how you spend your break represents the fork in the road. He's like, you can either study or you can goof off. He's like, you know, if you're trying to get into a certain high school, you might want to pay attention to that. What I love is I want, after this season, I would love if Hina went to a different high school. I love if she'd start fresh. If she just leave this high school behind and be like, I don't want to go to the same high school as Tagaki. Let her have it. I'm going to start fresh. Forget that. Whatever. I would love that. I would love her to just leave these kids behind, because they're clearly not a group of friends that she would want to have anyway, because none of them are sticking up for her. She's like, I heard some of you are complaining, but there was bullying so bad here the student transferred to another school. And yet, out of 38 kids, no one raised their voice except those involved. I love him saying that, because he's basically like, oh, a kid transferred here because they were bullied so bad, but none of you bitches wanted to stand up and say anything, but yet you're complaining? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you should have said something. Like, I love how blunt he is. This is the price you're paying for ignoring it. I'm like, yes, this man knows what's up. And he says it with a smile, like, This is how it is. And you could see like the doom and gloom slowly lifting in the room and the light shining on them. Like, oh, like they've been put in the headlight. Like they're the ones on the spot. He says, before summer vacation, we're going to start resolving this. So I'll be talking to you all one-on-one. And we're going to do first Takagi and then Kawamoto. And then that's it. And I like that Hina's like, his reasonable manner of speaking made the class fall silent. I love the ripple that's between the two of them. I would honestly like for Hina to confront Takagi about why she is the way that she is, at least before they graduate, and be like, what was the point? And I'm sure Takagi would say, well, she's either jealous of Hina or whatever, but I don't know if it's one of those situations where she can reach a bully like that, or if it's even going to be worth it in the end. So I don't know, but I love him. He's great. And so he's like, when you're going to call after school, report to the faculty office, and class is dismissed. So I like that he took the time to talk to all the students one-on-one. And then, of course, Akari is terrified because she doesn't want to make a mistake, and she's worried that she's going to get called out for being the sister. Now, to her credit, I'm glad the other mom didn't call out Akari or say anything mean about their mom. I'm glad that didn't happen because I was full on ready for it to happen, but she was still a piece of work, right? And then this one teacher, I like her represented under the red sky like she's about to jump off the roof of the school. And her class would be thrown into chaos every time. And so, true, I think the teacher just didn't find a clever way to deal with it, because the homeroom teacher finds a way to deal with it. And this other one, she just couldn't think of that. She couldn't think outside the box that way. And Hina's like, what should I have done? Like Hina's heart is so pure that she's like, what could I have done to save this teacher or to make it to where you didn't have to come? And it's like, girl, like, you're the one getting bullied, and yet you're asking what more you could have done to help. I'm like, come on, girl. And so I like Akari being like, look, we're going to solve this problem. We're going to do it the Golden Girls style, and we're going to eat food. We're going to get some beef. We're going to get some like French toast in a cup. Like we're going to have a great time. The fact though that Hina, like, we got to see the mom, and we at least got to see her face. The fact that Hina has her mother's eyes and has her mother's face. I feel like that also, like, I love that kind of light. Like, if you believe that parts of those that have passed can transfer to you, I love that idea that Hina's light can come from her mom. And it's so beautiful. I love it so much. I love how determined Akari is here too, where she's eating the beef and she's like, well, you're just going to go down there and have a good time and do all this. But what I love about this episode is that it shows that even though Akari is so determined and she's the older sister / like foster mom in this situation, she's not perfect. And she's not perfect, and she makes mistakes, and she's actually a lot more fragile than she seems, right? So it kills me. It kills me in this episode how we see these two sisters really struggling but trying to help each other at the same time. I love it. And she's like, I'll always be on your side. This whole episode, like, these two sisters, I'm glad Momo didn't get subjected to any of this. Momo was just, off getting watched by her grandpa. It's so sweet. I hate that I want to get a picture of, like, crying over her beef, but I do. So, and the thing about it is, whenever you're confronting someone that is like the mom of Takagi, right? I feel like when you're kids, you try to give kids the benefit of the doubt. And it's, I think, a lot harder to prove kids being bullies unless you have that solid proof. But to me, I feel like once you're adults and everybody kind of is on a little bit more of a similar playing field in how they're judged, that, like, what I'm trying to get at is, if I was in a room and I was talking with Akari and Takagi's mom, and I'm very much profiling, but I think I would figure out in about 5 minutes whose parent was who was the parent of the bully. I think I'd figure that out in about 5 minutes. And that's not always the case. So it's hard to assume. You cannot assume. You'll make an ass out of you and me if you assume. But if I was in a room with Akari and that mom, I think in about 5 minutes I'd be like, oh, I know which one's the bully. I think I figured it out because of how the parents act. And Akari is just so soft-spoken and kind, and that mom was so demanding and just like, nah, 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 that I think for the homeroom teacher, they're like, okay, see how this goes. I'm glad that the grandpa did not go, because I was worried for a hot second the grandpa was going to go, because he would have gotten mad like the Oni that he's shown as, and he would have caused a scene, and him and that mom would have probably come to blows. Like, he probably would have hurt someone. And Akari's like, no. You've got an important catering job. You can't go. You have to, this is our 60th anniversary of our valued customer. You have to be there with your delicacies. And he's like, fine. She's like, you know that better than anyone. And I get what he's mad about. He's like, this is my granddaughter and I want to be there to support her. And Akari's like, it'll be fine. We'll do this together. She's like, it'll be okay. Like, I hate this old man watching him be like really sad, like shaking. Like, I felt for the grandpa, and I don't blame him for wanting to be there. So sad. So she's like, I'm going to have a good talk with her teacher, and everything's going to be fine. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, everything is not going to be fine, because this series does not make things go the way you think it's going to go. So they end up getting there, and of course, as soon as they show up, we can't have nice things. They can't just go into the room and talk with him. No, these kids have to like cause a mop to break through a window and a girl's hand to get cut, and he has to go deal with that. It leaves the parents alone, and then the one woman starts to like be snide. But we see Akari with her mom as she's, slowly dying. She has Hina's eyes, and we don't get to see Akari's face, but she sounds so much like Hina. She sounds so young in that moment. And like she's still in high school. She's like, I'll take care of them if anything happens to you. It's so sad. It's so sad. She's like, I'll protect them for the both of us. And you know what? It's moments like that with the mom that make me really frustrated with the dad. It really makes me frustrated with him. I can see why, one, they don't talk about him, and two, why Akari is so distraught about it. Because if you were a father and your wife was dying of a terminal illness and was leaving behind your 3 daughters, and you just couldn't be bothered to be there in her final moments when they needed you the most, that says a lot. That says a lot. And I love the fact that the dream is represented by the ocean water and everything. I love that the ocean represents the dream and like the waves. And then her, thinking back and then having that same dream again. Akari is so pretty. She, like, their whole family is beautiful. Like, the genetics in that family. But I feel so bad for her having to take care of these 2 sisters and, like, be mom while also not really having, like, your adulthood to yourself. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I made a promise to be there for my sister. I do. I just love Akari. Ray, you are marrying into a very good family. Which I'm hoping he does. I really want him to, because he deserves it and they deserve him. So the next day they go to this parent-teacher conference, and I love how the episode sets the mood. It's overcast, it's gloomy, it's dark. It's like, for being July, it is a surprisingly chilly looking day for July. And the way that they frame this, of it being like the darkness versus the light of that shot, incredible. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so the one mother comes out with Tagagi. They look exactly the same, except she has her frown lines and all of that. And then they see each other. And he's like, all right, well, please come in. And then that's when they're like, oh, sir, Mr. Kokubu, what's wrong? And they're like, oh, someone, Ueda was scurrying around and broke the window with a mop. And he's like, what? Who breaks the window with a mop? What are you middle school kids doing? And they're like, oh, Suzuki, his hand is bleeding. And they're like, what? He's like, what was that kid thinking? Like, and he's like, oh, sorry, I gotta go take care of these middle school kids that can't clean, can't mop anything without breaking a window. And the worst part is, all that mother had to do was leave with her daughter, and that's all they had to do. That was it. That's all that had to be said. They could have just walked away, and that was it. But instead, they stir the pot. They stir the pot. And I was like, you didn't have to do that. It was just so frustrating. And I felt so bad for Akari because she's trying to defend her sister. And then, of course, the mom busts in with, well, how can you call my daughter a bully? Where is your proof? And I felt so bad for Akari because Akari kind of freezes. She doesn't know what to do. And Hina's the one that saves her and is like, hey, let's go. Hey, my sister needs to go to the emergency room. She's not feeling well. We'll just take a break and do that. Like, Hina is born to be like a mediator or a counselor or something. Like, she has it in her DNA. She's so good at just being caring and breaking up that situation. Like, I would love for her to be a school counselor. I would love for her to be a principal. That would be so good for her. But she wants to open a bake shop, so fine. Do counseling on the side, I guess. Telecounseling while you have your bake shop. She could do what one of my students, he's going into psychology, and what he wants to do is open up a tea shop. But in the back of the tea shop is like for counseling. So he wanted to call it like Spill the Tea, where you have like a little tea shop and like you can sit there and have tea and crumpets and stuff. And then in the back, if you need to go talk to a licensed therapist, you can. And I was like, that's such a cool idea. And kind of like normalizing mental health care, normalizing talking and having those conversations. I'm like, that's really kind of cool. But that's what needed to happen here. And it did not happen by any means. But I just love Hina. She's just such a light source. And I feel like the moment that she put her arms around her sister and was like, hey, let's go back there, I feel like Kokuda, the teacher, he knew. In that moment, he knew that Hina was a good kid because she was trying to save her sister's face in front of this woman. Like, I think in that moment, he was like, okay, nope, she's the victim. This is how it goes. And finally, when that mom is being such a witch and is just like, well, my daughter, I believe her. And I'm glad that Hina in that moment realizes, she's like, there is nothing I'm going to be able to do to change their mind. I'm not going to be able to make them realize. So maybe she won't have that conversation with Tagaki. Maybe that won't happen because she's like, it's not going to change her mind. She's like, but I'll be damned if I let her ruin the last year of middle school for me. She's like, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to do this. And I was like, damn, girl. Like, in that moment, that was so good. Like, I freaking loved every part of that. I was like, yes, please. But I'm going to restart this. The VLC player is being so bad tonight. Oh, no. It's like stopping and freezing. Blah. Anyway, so the teacher, I love that he finally snaps back to the mom and is like, okay, well, you know what? Normally, he's like, here's my psychological evaluation. I think if your kid was bullying, they would speak up. But since they're not saying anything, they don't want to get in trouble. So, and he does that whole psychological breakdown of everything that's happened. And when the mom's like, well, how dare you? You don't have any proof my daughter's bullying. And he's like, okay, well, then where's your proof that the other girl's lying? And just snaps it right back. It's like, okay, where's your proof? If you don't have any proof, there's no point in talking here. We're done. And so my hope is that him being the homeroom teacher is going to at least help to kind of circumvent and stop Takagi from getting away with everything, because he'll actually be strong enough to be like, no, shut that down. Let's shut that down right now. And I hope that that's the case. I hope that Takagi stops and Hina is able, and I hope this encourages the other classmates to at least open up to Hina and be like, we were really worried about being bullied too, and you're really cool and you were brave in that moment, and blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm not holding my breath because they're about to graduate, and I feel like at this point the series is just going to want to get Hina to be like, to get through this year and be fine. But man, her whole resolve in that last part where she was like gritting her teeth and crying, and she's like, I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna stay here, they're not gonna run me away, I don't need people like that in my life. And I'm like, she is wise beyond her years. because in middle school, I never thought of that. In middle school, especially if you come from a small town where you grew up with these people your whole life, you think that you're going to be stuck with these people all throughout high school and all throughout whatever. But that moment where Hina's like, I don't need people like that in my life. I don't have to listen to them. I don't care if I'm ignored at school. I have people I care about at home. Screw these people. I'm never going to see them again after middle school, possibly high school. Who cares? It's just, oh, Hina is just, she's such a good character. And for her to just have that emotional breakdown with Akari and to tell Akari, she's like, you came and supported me, and I'm so thankful. Girl's a saint. A literal saint. And I love that the teacher heard the tail end of that conversation to know she's a good kid. I think that that's going to do her so much good because the teacher, the homeroom teacher, at least for now, to diffuse the situation, knows she's a good kid and is going to be able to at least make sure she doesn't hopefully get further bullied while Tagaki and her are there until they graduate. And Hina's just the better person. I'm like, damn, it's just, oh, so good. So good. Yeah. This whole VLC player is just completely, it has decided to abandon me, so I can't pull back the episode, and I'm so sorry. But, everything about this episode was amazing. I loved it. I loved the animation. I loved Hina's character, how it all came back around full circle, how Hina and Akari, and that's kind of like what I was talking about. They were themselves, and they were their kind, genuine selves. And the thing about it is, someone noticed and realized that they are good people and were like, it's fine. I feel like sometimes you can get down on yourself and think, oh my God, this is the only way I'm ever going to be presented in front of a group of people. And that's not the case. You know, if you are yourself, the right people will eventually see and will know who you are. And it's like, okay. I feel like people that are shady and people that lie and are manipulative, like Tagaki's mom, I feel like, yeah, they're going to get away with a lot of stuff. But at some point, they're going to run into somebody that doesn't believe their bullshit and will call them out and be like, no, that's just not adding up. So try again. And that literally happens with the teacher in this one. So does not miss. This show does not miss. And then we have the ED, which I wish I could pull it up, but my stupid VLC player is being ridiculous. But I adore the ED as well. It's great. I have a feeling I'm at least going to have the rest of this season to kind of soak in the ED and the OP for it. I hadn't even thought about it changing over. I'm not kidding. I was like, oh, we're going to start episode 34. And then I was planning on during the OP counting on my fingers being like, well, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So the 12th episode. I was thinking it might have been next episode that we got the new OP and ED, but nope. So we still have 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. We only have 10 episodes left. Oh my God. What? Plenty of time to have a Soya and Ray matchup as the OP showed us, but you know. Anyway, I'm super excited to hear your comments down below. But I hope you all enjoyed this reaction discussion. This episode was amazing, and I can't wait for next week. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back real soon with more March Comes In Like a Lion.